Hey guys, this video is all about teaching you basic gospel keys riffs that you can use in any modern worship song. You can take a worship song in an entirely new direction by adding a simple gospel keys riff. And even if you're not comfortable playing gospel music, it doesn't have to be complicated to get started. Here to help make it simple for us is Isaac Rodriguez. Isaac, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Good. I'm ready to learn.
All right, the first riff or the first touch that I was playing in the key of C to make it a little bit simple. But it's one of my commons that I use a lot. And if I was going to play the C major this way, one touch that I use a lot is gonna go in to do this movement. So if I were to lay the chord, I would be, if I were to play the fourth chord, which is F, I would do same with the fifth or the sixth. So this is really common gospel. If you listen to gospel a lot, you will listen a lot of keys players to do kind of in the same riff, in the same touch. So if I were to play the C chord, I would do or I will add this kind of inversion, which is so all my one chord. So here's my one, here's my two. Now I just walk up to my three. So if I were to do just on my four, my fifth, on the sixth I can. So I would do back to the four. And that's easy. So for example, just to throw easy song, Waymaker, I will be Waymaker, miracle worker, darkest deep light and my God, that is so. It's just that touch.
Yeah.
Back to the four.
The cool thing is you're doing this the exact same way for every chord in the scale, right? It's just 2 to 3 or 2 in between to the 3, and you're able to do that with the 1 chord, with a 4 chord, with a 5 chord, with a 6 chord, with the 2 chord, right? It's muscle memory once you understand the concept.
Yeah.
And I think actually to a lot of folks that are familiar with modern worship music, this is pretty familiar, just not from the keys. Guitarists are doing this all the time. It's called hammer-ons and pull-offs.
Yeah.
Right? That dang.
Yeah,
you're doing
just that little
dang.
pitching, because it creates that movement. That's kind of my principal move every time I play keys. It's kind of I would do it again, muscle memory, automatically. If I need to lay a 4 chord, I will do, which is another riff, which is kind of
right, 2, 3 back to the 2.
Yep. So it adds a lot, and it's not difficult to learn. And then if you want to add, and to be able to do it in any key, in D, in E, in F, G, A, B. So every time I need to lay a chord, I just go, oh, we're gonna play in B?
Right.
That would be my touch.
So if you want to figure out how to practice this, maybe just starting in the key of C, you could even just keep it really simple. Bass note in the left hand, 1, 2, 3 in the right hand. Leave the pinky out of it. If you're not really confident in moving around these shapes, just practice 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2.
Yeah.
Just go back and forth and then take that up each chord in the scale, the key that you're in, and then you can start over once you're confident in one key, move to the next common key that you're playing and keep moving and moving and moving.
This is what I usually play in my low.
Yep.
So this is what I do, and just if I'm playing C, I would just literally do, and it sounds so foolish because of the movement. Just in gospel, it's pretty common to use in the key of C. If I do this number, I will walk down
Okay.
And this is really a really common gospel riff or touch. It's kind of like if I play my 4, my 5th, so we'll go on G.
Yep.
In C. But I just used my 3, these 3 fingers, so I'm like walking.
Nice.
But that's something that you do it if I'm doing it in, for example, Waymaker again, trying to keep it really simple. So see the movement again, it's kind of like...
Right.
So that's a riff that is not complicated. Takes a lot of practice to learn it in every
key.
key.
The speed, right.
To get the speed back to it. So like if I'm playing in D, the positioning is really important. You will see you hand get it kind of like, because I cannot just, if I'm playing C, if I need to, my hand automatically will kind of like turn.
Right.
But I will be... And it's the same movement.
Yeah.
In D. Now, in some chords that is gonna be a little bit complicated to do it, like E, for example. Your hand is gonna get to a point that you'll be like, ooh, this. But again, that's what practice does. It's not trying to do it in the rehearsals. Do it at home when you're sitting by yourself. And I'm able to do it so quick because in E, in B.
And the cool thing about both of the riffs that you showed us so far is they happen pretty quickly, right? There's these little moments where you're doing something and then you're kind of getting back out of the way. You're like saying something from the instrument and then you're making space, right? And it's all about that contrast of knowing when to sprinkle these things in. Your worship leader's not going to look at you and say, could you play this particular riff at this particular moment? It's just not the way it works.
No.
But if you can build up this confidence and skill to be able to determine when these things will fit and make sure they're back out of the way at the right moments, then you can start to experiment and grow this skill set for yourself. You got another one for us?
Yeah, and another one that I can throw out there is kind of like, instead of a riffing, it's a touch that is in gospel is really common. And if you're playing your 1, for example, I'm gonna demonstrate. So if you play my 1, I will do my 2 in my right hand. I will do my 2 chord minor and go back to the 1.
Okay.
So I will do... Mostly of the time, I only do it with the 1. And I was gonna create, if you create that movement, but at the same time, again, you have practiced the other movements, what it's gonna make is like a combination of all them 3. So if I'm playing in C, and I can do in my right hand again, my 5th chord, and back to the 1. So it'll be... In my left hand, keep the bass the same.
Yep.
My right hand, I will do the C chord. So right now, this is the shape of the C chord I usually do. Because
it's the second inversion here, right?
The second inversion.
Yeah.
Because it helps my playing, I can add the pinky right here. And this is usually the chord that I do for C, but if I'm playing C in this, it's easy for me to walk to my 2 minor. I just need to literally swap my hands to the next.
Also second inversion, so A, D, F.
Yep.
So you're moving that up and you're going right back down.
Back down.
Okay.
G on a normal chord.
Right, root 1, 3, 5.
Yep.
And then right back. So again, chords that keys players are probably comfortable playing. It's just the way you're approaching it, when you're fitting these chords together and how, that makes it feel like something special, like a specific little moment, some extra color and texture, and then you're right back to where you started in the key of C on that C chord.
Yeah, and that's something, if you combine, for example, the riffs that I did in the past. So if I'm playing...
Yeah.
So... So you can add... That's another movement. Again, just to keep it simple, it's kind of like something that I do, for example, if I was playing Waymaker. Waymaker, miracle work.
Yep.
So like, it's kind of like, ooh, we going here? No, we're going back here.
Yeah.
So like, it's kind of Waymaker on my 4, back to my 1. So that kind of like, that movement is easy, and it's kind of like you can add here and then,
Right.
and it's not hard to learn.
And in this specific context, you could even be hitting these little riffs and these passing moments, and the rest of the band wouldn't even necessarily have to be following along.
No.
Because you're not ever actually leaving the chord, right? When you're hitting that minor 2 accent, it's so close to the 4 chord that the rest of the band is already playing.
Yeah.
They might hear the difference, but they don't need to know the difference.
No.
Because you're not stepping on anybody's toes musically.
No.
You're just adding a little texture on top, right? That's super cool.
Those kind of riffs is kind of like something that you not directly need to communicate. Your music director, your worship leader, it's something that they will love that you do if you throw it in the right spot. It's not like all the time that I'm walking, I'm like, no, I'm not doing that all the time. It's kind of like finding that specific moment when to do it.
Yeah, building up that confidence.
Yep.
So if somebody wants to start trying to build up this muscle memory, they're going to have to do that at home during practice.
Yeah.
What would you say to encourage somebody who's maybe wanting to take on some of that work? How do you know when it's time to just start giving something a try? You know, how do you start knowing that you're ready to take something to the stage and try and almost like sneak it in and just see how it goes?
I would say that the most important thing is when you are playing this kind of stuff and you're not feeling yourself like it's too much. Because that's something really important. Sometimes I do stuff and I say, well, I did too much in that part.
Right.
I would say if you're playing this and you're practicing and you're practicing and you're practicing a lot, just give it a try. The most thing that we can do as a musician is to develop that confidence. And how you're gonna do that? Playing, and don't be afraid of the mistakes. That's my biggest advice. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. Man, Isaac, thank you for sharing these with us. I'm excited for you guys to try these out for yourselves. So come back to this video, watch it in slow motion, check out these riffs, and then start working up that muscle memory. Leave a comment and let us know once you start giving these a try at church. Maybe, Isaac, we could come back and you could teach us some more riffs sometime in the future.
Absolutely.
Check out Isaac's channel. There's a link in the description because you'll be able to see and hear these riffs and many more in action on his YouTube. He's constantly uploading new worship service playthroughs and is an awesome inspiration for you if you want to get better at using gospel riffs in your worship band. Isaac, thanks for your time today, man.
Absolutely,
Appreciate
man.
it.
See you guys. People ask me how long I play a day, and at least I play an hour a day. I need to sit in the keys at least an hour a day, play anything. Sometimes what I do is I sit in my studio and I'm just like, put songs. I put Setlist. And even if I don't know I'm trying to like follow along. Because it takes my ear to the next level, but at the same time I'm playing. And maybe I don't know the chords of the song, but what I do, trying to follow along. Oh, are they going to the 5th? Are we going this? And that's what's gonna create those kind of movements to be able to know where to go next.